fantasy, caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
Okay, so this is kind of a big week for comics. There's a lot of comics out, and there just happens to be a lot of good comics out. Now, on a side note, Batman 37 is coming out tomorrow with the Copial variant, so make sure you cop that. Go cop that. But so it's not a coincidence, but DC just does women better than Marvel. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They just do women better than Marvel. And what I mean by that is they are able to write them and draw them better than Marvel. In every way, form, and fashion, they are better. So I haven't been reading Supergirl for a couple of issues. At first I was reading it and I liked it. I just I think I forgot about it. But so I got back to it. You know how you read something and you get behind, you're like, oh, it's too late now. But I forget that it's comic books and not TV shows. You can just go to a comic book and just start reading and pretty much pick up what's happening. So as I'm reading this, it just boggles my mind. It's mind-boggling. My mind is bottled because of how good they are at writing female characters and drawing female characters. So check out this cover. We got this dope new font on the top there that looks like the classic Superman font. It says Supergirl. We got the new lettering on the side that I'm not too keen on, but it's cool because it gets a general message across. Now, it kind of scares me when they start doing this basic font on the ribbon to the left because they're doing that whole thing when they're pretty much taking away drafting and everything's just basic font. But that serves its purpose because you can see it from a distance. Now here's the thing. Look at this cover here. This cover is sick. Okay, you got the strange visitor attacking Supergirl. And I had to look up who that was because I kind of forgot. And basically, at first I thought it was Superwoman, the first Superwoman come back. In the Superwoman comic book, she pretty much dies in issue 1. And then, like, Lana Lang is left as Supergirl. So I thought it was her at first. I was like, oh, that'd be cool if she come back as a villain. But it's not. Strange Visitor, which is still cool, bad guy. So it says The Wrath of the Strange Visitor. And so as we cut to the alternate cover here, we have a pretty alternate cover. I like it. And then we start out at National City Memorial Park, and it's an attack by the Strange Visitor. And for a Strange Visitor, she's looking pretty good. But it says, I remember sacrificing myself, she says. My atoms splitting apart. I should be at peace, but she pulled me from my quantum sleep. I can see it in my mind. Basically what she's saying is, in the past comic books, she is a childhood friend of Clark Kent. She was struck by lightning. At the same time, a creature called Gazette bonded with her, and pretty much she became electromagnetic charge. So she stole Superman's old containment suit and altered it, and it keeps her composed. Basically, it's kind of like if Mr. Manhattan was all the time dissipating, just disappearing and couldn't bring himself back together. So then we cut to Kara here, and Kara is basically on the run. It's that classic story of the DEO is after and she's on the run. So she's watching it from TV, but she can hear it at the same time. She wants to act on it, but she can't. She's basically a fugitive as Supergirl, and she's fighting the urge. But let's talk about a couple of Easter eggs here. So the buddy that's with them is sipping his coffee, and his coffee mug has the Star Wars emblem on it, the Rebel Alliance on there. I thought that was super cool. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. I don't know how they got away with that since it's owned by Marvel, but whatever. But she says, it's because of them that I'm sitting here, that Supergirl isn't out there stopping this. If they really wanted people to be protected, they would let me do that. And it's good. It's a classic struggle of her and the DEO. DEO wants to keep complete order. They don't want any superheroes running around, but they're going to have to realize that that's going to have to happen. They don't like it because she had her dad, which was technically Cyborg Superman, hid from them, so that all trust has gone out the window at this point. But then a new challenger approaches. And it's a dude in a suit starts attacking Strange Visitor, and we get this cool fight scenes here, and he says his name is Insight. And but Supergirl knows who it is by his heartbeat and says Mr. Mastercoa. And so at that point they're fighting each other, and it's kind of like when you're watching Supergirl before it went SJW and it had the Guardian on there. It kind of reminds me of that. I also kind of thought it was Ares at first by his general shape when he was running. I was like, whoa, what if Ares just showed up and just like ripped her in half? But so he attacks her. It doesn't work. She pretty much just one hit disables him because she's too powerful. And so then at that point, Kara can't take it anymore, and she just shows up, and he says, haha, she changed my life in prison. Looks like she's about to save it. And then boom, takes Strange Visitor out and throws her through the air, and then smashes her into the ground. And that's pretty much all it takes to knock some sense into her. But then the DEO has now showed up, so they're trying to arrest everybody. They take Strange Visitor hostage, or take her captive again. But something happens before that. She had hit her head, and now she's having different memories. She says, where am I? Supergirl, how did I get here? And Supergirl's like, oh, she's just confused, something's wrong, wait. And they captured her before she could say anything. And they were intent on capturing everybody, but Insight threw up a solar flare and distracted them all to where Supergirl could get away and sacrifice himself. I thought that was pretty cool of him. So at that point, basically, she's with her family again, and they're eating food, and she's having a time. I thought she had been on Earth for a little while now, but she doesn't know what okra is, and she doesn't know what chicken fried steak is. So maybe she just never had it before. I don't know. But she made a comment about not being able to taste the chicken in chicken fried steak, and I thought that was funny. So they're still talking about the DEO and what to do, and the fact that the Strange Visitor couldn't remember what was going on. And then we cut to the Blade, the local DEO headquarters, and Mr. Bones is running things there. And he's a pretty cool looking character. He's literally just Bones. So at that point, he's got Insight captured, and then there's Strange Visitor, and she says, your conditioning wore off, Bones. I know what you did. It wasn't Supergirl. You brought me back. You destabilized my electrocellular field. And he says, and I could dispose you completely. Sharon, keep quiet. Now as for you, let me be clear. You have strict orders and a very specific mission. And we see someone standing there, and he says, you are to cause mayhem, lure Supergirl out. Get her to make a mistake. But of no circumstances are any civilians being harmed. That's not how we operate. And thanks to McCary's conditioning, it's not how you operate anymore either. And at that point, we see it's Decelia, and they have pretty much brainwashed her to do their bidding. Look at Decelia there. She's looking pretty fit. But anyway, Bones sends her out, and then we get another cut here. And basically the DEO is going around investigating the high school because they know Supergirl is a young girl, and they're pretty much going student to student to try to track down who Supergirl is. And at that point, the friends are sitting there with her, and this is how good the writing is. Marvel writes people as black character, as white character, as Hispanic character. That's their personality. But on here, the writing is so good, you don't even notice who anybody is. She's got two, I'm assuming, black friends here, and the writing is so good that they act like human beings. It's so weird. But anyway, you've got one friend that likes what Superwoman's doing, and you've got another friend that doesn't like what Superman's doing. It's that classic discussion that they always have. And so at this point, she's thinking in her mind like a girl would think. Women overthink everything. And she's saying that Belinda is so nice. I can see why Ben likes her. And then she's talking about other people here. And then we have Recess. And there's Kara's friend. And again, they draw these women like females. I mean, look at her friend there. How good she looks. And then you got Kara there. looking like a female. It's so weird. And so basically, they notice some burns on her arms from fighting a strange visitor. She gives some kind of lame excuse, and it's the same old same old. They disbelieve her. So then they lose the game, of course, because Supergirl is trying to pretend to be normal. And then we get this scene here where she's walking out of recess, and look who's over there in the corner. I love these Easter eggs. It's Shaggy and Velma walking down the halls of the school. It's hilarious. So then at that point, there is, I can't think of her name, but it's the girl from the DEO, and I don't know if it's the same one, but it looks just like Kara's sister. I thought Kara's sister was in the DEO, but maybe it was just on a TV show. I'm not sure. So she's questioning Kara about her wounds, and at that point, Kara hears more screaming, and she pulls a Supergirl move and is able to escape. And that's where Decelia is on the ship. She is causing havoc. She's bashing people left and right. And it's that moment that the brainwashing wears off of her. So apparently, if certain people can knock it off. And she says, "So much for your conditioning. I'm in charge now, and I'll see that these judging fops pay in blood." And is just smashing them around, throwing them. And she says, "Oh, this feels good. It's so kind of the director to give me a new planet to play with, a new ruling class to break. Do you want to judge me, worm?" And then at that point throws him, and then boom, someone shows up and she says, "Oh, it's my company." And then that's when Supergirl tries to grab her, but Decelia is way too fast and is able to grab her first and says, "Hello, Supergirl. We have so much to talk about." At that point I was like, oh crap. You are on a whole different level. So the next issue is the Cosmic Grip of Star Shame. I don't know what that means, but this is a very interesting story. Like, now you have somebody that is reconditioning villains to attack Supergirl to draw her out. And it's like, where's this going to go? Is Bones like Amanda Waller? Is he not really a nice guy that uses these kind of things? We've got a good story by Steve Orlando. It says Jody Hauser and Steve Orlando, but let's face it, it's Steve Orlando. And then the penciler is Robson Roca, and the inker is Daniel Henriquez, and the colorist is Michael Atiyah. What's it with all these names? And then the variant cover is by Stanley Artgerm Lau, and he's very cool. You can follow him on Twitter and on Instagram under Artgerm, and he does a lot of good art. He does her very realistically, but like an airbrush kind of feel, so it's pretty cool. But let's talk about how Supergirl is just running all over Marvel right now with the comic book. I mean, the art is great, the writing is great. It's a whole head and shoulders over what Marvel's doing. I don't know if you guys have just watched my Wolverine, I should say X-23 review that I just uploaded, but compare that to this. I mean, it's night and day different. Can you imagine if they had Steve Orlando and this artist here to do X-23, what he could do with it? I mean, it's kind of pathetic that Marvel won't pay their writers enough to have good writers. It's like, let's make 100 books at $10 instead of 10 books at $100. It's that whole thing of we'll make more money if we spend less and all this kind of stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. But definitely check this book out. It's been pretty solid from what I can tell of reading the back issues, and I think it's just going to continue to be good. But alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to support me on my Maker Support. And also, we're going to be doing a He-Man Woman Haters live stream Thursday, 7 p.m. We're going to talk about guy stuff and about comics, and just have fun with it. So if it does good, we'll keep doing it and have different people on there and just see what you guys think. But alright, I'll talk to you later. Underground Geek out.
I wish I knew you when I was young.